Well, hello everybody out there in Interland. It's Chris from MagicLights.com, another exciting episode of Topher's Log, and we do have another house announcement to talk about today. We didn't have one last week, of course, because Universal dropped that epic announcement on us. Of course, Universal's Epic Universe was announced last week, so obviously no announcement for Halloween Horror Nights, as everything was focused on the new park stuff. But this week we do have a new announcement. We are literally getting down to the wire here. Obviously with this house announcement, we still have 2 more houses left to go. Universal Orlando still has to announce all their scare zones, plus their show or shows. Hollywood, of course, has basically announced all their scare zones. I think they have announced all their scare zones. They still haven't announced one of their shows, if they're even going to have a show. But this of course is a shared property. Jordan Peele's Us. There's a bunch of like these really new up and coming horror directors who are making like really interesting horror films, things that have all these subtext and context to it. And obviously Jordan Peele is making these horror films that have a lot of social commentary. Of course, he did Get Out. Get Out is an Academy Award winning film. He won for his screenplay for Get Out. Get Out was actually my favorite movie of that year. Was it 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now? A very, 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 very good film. So obviously Us was highly anticipated. People were waiting to see what Jordan Peele was going to do next. And the thing, I know that when Get Out happened, a lot of people wanted Get Out to show up. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of rumblings that Get Out would actually be featured in one of the Blumhouse mashups of that year. I think Get Out would have been extremely difficult to sort of translate into a house, because a lot of Get Out is really all about the underlining layers of that story. Us still has that social commentary, that social subtext that Jordan Peele is sort of really making a name for himself with his films. But I think Us is a lot more accessible as a horror film on the surface level of it. There's a I sort of describe it to people as I think Us is the more rewatchable horror film. I think you can get more enjoyment out of rewatching Us on the surface level, just as a straight up horror film, than you can Get Out. Get Out is, like I said, more psychological, there's a lot more layers to Get Out than, I'm not saying that Us doesn't have layers, but it's Get Out is more, there's a lot more stuff under the surface of Get Out. So a little bit harder to translate, in my opinion, to a house. But like I said, Us, there's a lot of stuff on the surface that you can do here. The blog does mention the boardwalk, of course, the beach house, the stuff underground. Spoiler alert for Us if you haven't seen Us. It might be a good time to watch it now since it's coming to Halloween Horror Nights. But there's, you've got the stuff underground, and all the tunnels and stuff, with all the tethered and the doppelgangers, as it were. I really liked Us. I still think Get Out is the better film, but like I said, Us I think is the more rewatchable horror film. There were things that I really liked about Us, and things that I really I thought they kind of went a little bit overboard with, most notably in the twist endings. I say 2 because there are kind of 2 twists at the end of Us. But that being said, I think there's a lot of potential here for this house. I think they can do a lot on the surface of just scaring you with. If you follow the stuff that's gone on with this house in particular, you may or may not know this was not supposed to be here, so it's kind of a late addition, depending on who you talk to. This replaced an original house that was supposed to come. It kind of makes me a little bit nervous because of how sort of high concept Us kind of is. I don't want to confirm or deny anything, but if we're talking about something that was sort of brought very last minute, and another house was sort of taken away, and then they had to construct this in its place, that kind of makes me nervous a little bit, because it's sort of rushing to get this done in that very little amount of time. Can either go very wrong or very bad. So there's usually a house every year that I say, this can go really well or really bad, and I think Us sort of fits that bill this year. There's something that things can go horribly awry with this, because there's, it's Jordan Peele. Like I said, a lot of subtext to his stuff. There's sort of, if it replaced the original house, it's sort of late in the game. Sort of putting this together last minute. This kind of makes sense. It is a Universal property. This is not a Blumhouse movie, by the way. Jason Blum produced this film, but it's not a Blumhouse production. It is a Was it Monkey Paw, I think, is Jordan Peele's production company, and of course Universal distributed the film. So it's not a straight up Blumhouse thing, but Jason Blum is involved. I mentioned in one of the Topher's logs this year about Blumhouse sort of being one of their go-to people these days, the sort of, to mine properties from. But like I said, this is not technically a Blumhouse movie. It is a Jordan Peele film. Jason Blum just happened to be one of the producers on the film. So there's that. So you got the synergy thing going on. Universal was probably like, hey, this movie made a shit ton of money. Why don't we bring it to Halloween Horror Nights? And it's Jordan Peele. This guy's at the height of his powers. A lot of people did want Get Out at one point. So, Us is like I said, the more accessible film. So Us is coming. So with that, let's update the hype list. This is from last week, of course. Killer Clowns from Outer Space came in at number 6, and Stranger Things fell to number 7. I keep saying that there's something coming that's going to be below Stranger Things, but this is not it. So here's the current updated list. I'm going to put Us at number 6. Killer Clowns falls to number 7, and Stranger Things falls to number 8. When this first became a thing, when Us sort of took over that other original house, I sort of struggled with this because I really like Us as a film, but like I said, a little bit hard or tough to translate, and given the sort of again, not confirming nor denying anything, depending on who you talk to, the sort of rushed nature of putting this together sort of had me a little bit nervous about this, but seeing the announcement video, which we'll put up right now, of course you've got the awesome theme music that Jordan Peele has in this film. The sort of I Got 5 on it remix thingy that he does. There's a lot there to get excited about, and like I said, I really enjoyed the film. I do kind of I want to see what they do in here, because like I said, some of these things are going to be very hard to translate, especially the underground stuff. How are they going to make all those bunnies? They're going to have the bunnies? Are we going to have a shit ton of bunnies, fake bunnies walking around? That should be pretty funny to witness. I kind of want to see how they do the carnival thing. I can almost bet your bottom dollar we're going to go into a Hall of Mirrors type thing, with the little Adelaide. Is that the character's name? Adelaide. It goes through the tunnels, and runs into her tethered, her doppelganger, and thus thrusts the story into motion. But yeah, I guarantee we're going to be seeing that. We had a little bit of a mirror maze last year in Scary Tales Deadly Ever After. I wouldn't be surprised if that shows up in here as well. So yes, I'm really curious to see how they do this. I'm excited about it, but like I said, it also really has the potential to fail. So that's it. Jordan Peele's Us is coming to Halloween Horror Nights 29. We have 2 more houses left to be announced on the Orlando side. I think Hollywood also has 2 left. I got to go back and look. But Hollywood, of course, has also announced all their scare zones. They've also, so that's that. Orlando still has all their scare zones to announce. There is stuff starting to be put up in the park. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be down there this morning. I tried to get ahead of this announcement, but I failed miserably. It is what it is. But there's stuff being put out. We have, of course, the my favorite time of the year, HHN lighting rig porn. A bunch of HHN lighting rigs are out there. And of course, the facade for the MIB tent is being put up as we speak. So things are happening. You could also, of course, you could look to my Twitter and my website for construction updates on the scare zones as we move through, coming up to opening day here. Where was it? Less than 5 weeks, 30 days, 29 days, somewhere around there. So it's happening. Stuff is happening. I would bet that we get another announcement probably sometime next week. What that is, I would hope they start announcing scare zones, because we kind of need to know what the scare zones are. But yeah, and the show or shows. So there's that. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. Jordan Peele's Us is coming to the event. And that's it. I will talk to you guys hopefully sooner rather than later. Bye.